a service. Now I'll give you my backhand. My winner whizzes down the line. Betting weekly tennis live. Are you ready for it? Here we go.
Welcome to Betting Weekly Tennis Live, brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. This Wimbledon has been insane. I'm Rory Jiwani. With me is Nigel Seeley. And first, some great news to report. As you saw from that graphic, we've reached 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which isn't bad considering we've only been going for a couple of years. And it's largely down to the man in the other window here, Nigel. Take a bow, sir.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. There's no I in team, my mate. We've built up a brilliant team here on the channel, not only on the tennis shows, but obviously on the football shows, the soccer shows, the American guys who come on as well and do their bit as well in the evening on Betting Weekly Tennis Live, and also on the hardball and the fast break. It's just a big team event, and everyone knows that we're a big team, we're a solid team, and and I think that sort of togetherness that we have as a team, it goes across to the subscribers and the viewers who watch the show. They like being part of it, and we like doing this kind of stuff for you. So it's you're like a good football manager. You're only as good as the team you put out on the pitch, and my team is very, very strong. So yeah, I feel like I won the Champions League with these guys, so it's good.
Very kind, Nigel. Mark says beers are on you. That'll be a...
I'm renowned for my beer, my very gracious offerings of beer.
You are very generous.
Very generous on my beer, no problem.
Very generous. Yeah, so 10,000 subscribers. That's brilliant. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button now and make sure you sign up to the Betting Weekly Studios newsletters with picks from all our handicappers. As I was saying, this Wimbledon has been crazy. One normal day is all I'm asking for. That's all. I mean, before we recap what happened earlier and last night, which was pretty sensational, we're going to look at one match in progress. It's between reigning men's champion Carlos Alcaraz and the last Briton standing, Cam Norrie. Alcaraz took the first set 6-2. He's a breakup in the second, 3-2. The Spaniard leads. Norrie, $50 to turn this around. Alcaraz, you can't even get a price on him at the moment. Game spread, Norrie plus 9.5 games, plus 125. Alcaraz minus 167. That's minus 9.5 games. Total games, 26.5 is the line. Nigel, you got any interest in this now?
Well, I mean, from a money line perspective, the game's over, but 57 bets are still live on the Bet Rivers app. So it's not like it's just the one market who's going to win. There's 57 different bets available. Alcaraz looks like he's going to take this second set with that break. It's whether he takes it 6-2, 6-3, 6-4 is really determined about how the handicap goes. Cam Norrie plus 9.5 is plus 128. The total at 26.5 or something, I might look at the over 26.5 because, you know, the favourite scoreline potentially at 4-2 is 6-3, maybe 6-4. You know, if Norrie can hold his serve in the next match, then 6-4 will be the favourite. So that brings into, there's about 8 on the board. 10 would make it 28, and then you'd only be looking at over 8.5 in the final set. And to get even money over 26.5, I don't think Cam Norrie will go out without a bit of a fight. And you know, over 8.5 does seem a little bit cheap, but obviously I think the crucial bet, the crucial game, for anyone betting on this Norrie match at the moment on these current lines of 9.5 and 26 is Norrie's next service game. If Norrie holds the service game, then you want to hit that 26.5 as quickly as you can, or 9.5 as quickly as you can, but it will obviously move if he's doing well. If he gets broken in his next service game, then that line's going to move even higher to probably 10.5 and probably down 1 or 2 on the totals at 20 to 25 or 26.5. I would be quite tempted now to go over 26.5 at evens if I was pushing. It is juice now on Alcaraz's serve, and you can still get 26.5 games as a total, and 9.5 Norrie start plus 107. Breaks him here or wins the next service game, it's all changed. And Alcaraz started slow. Norrie had chances in the first game, but ever since then, Alcaraz has been on a different level to Norrie.
Yeah, a couple of footballers in the crowd. I think that's Mr. Saka from Arsenal. watching on.
Who's the other one? Is the other one
didn't
Gabrielle?
recognise
Is it Gabrielle?
Oh, it might be
think-
Gabrielle. Yeah, I think you're
it's
right.
Gabrielle.
Yeah, so a couple of Arsenal players
Dreams
in the
can
house.
come true if you're a Cam Norrie better. You've got Gabrielle in the crowd. So there you go. You're taking the 50-1.
Yeah, I'm not sure many other watchers are going to get that one, Nigel. That's quite a long time.
Gabrielle, 1990. What year was that song about? 1991. Dreams can come true. I'm guessing it was
93?
No, later than that. Could be. I'm going to go 94, 95. Keep dreams can come true. We'll find that anyway.
Break point. Norrie's got a break point here.
Well, the totals now.
Let's see what will happen here. Totals has now gone to 27.5. But a big point, as you say, we thought it would be the next Norrie service game. And obviously got plenty of home support. And he's got a chance to break.
Yeah, 26.5 is still there. Minus 125. But it's, I'm going to take a little chance on that 26.5 even money. I quite like it. He's playing all he can do, Norrie. He's not like he's playing bad. Alcaraz is just playing a lot better, and he is a lot better player. But if Norrie can hold his next service game, the 26.5 is a live contender, and you're betting the 26.5 on one service game. So I quite like that over 26.5 in play. Timber it was. We're not up with the kids. I saw Saka, and then screen went away, and I thought it might be Gabrielle.
Oh,
Timber.
Timber.
Oh,
thanks, Matt. The Dutchman.
We're not up with the kids.
We're not. We're really not. Now, I think I might be understating things when I say this has been a difficult tournament as far as handicapping goes. It just does feel like recent form has largely gone out the window. One player who has been in good form, and on the women's side, is Amanda Anisimova. She's through to her first Wimbledon semi-final. I was preparing sort of notes and everything, and I've had sweeping aside Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. She was 6-1, 5-2 up, and then the Russian came back and forced a tie-break, but Anisimova won it 11-9. She now plays world number one Aryna Sabalenka, who came through an epic against German veteran Laura Siegemund. Absolute drama in that one. Sabalenka came through 6-4 in the third. Siegemund plus 850 was her price before the match. Nigel, I don't know how much you saw of those matches, but goodness, Sabalenka Siegemund was incredible.
Yeah, I watched the whole lot of the Sabalenka game. Obviously, because we're in the BBC, you don't get two channels of tennis unless you press the red button and miss out on the other matches. So we're very only watch the matches they're showing live. I thought that Siegemund game was incredible. I mean, she just frustrated her, didn't her, with a spin, the way she was just getting everything back, second guessing every shot, and she got completely into Sabalenka's head. That is the problem with the world number one. We've seen it in two major finals. We've seen it in problems before. I don't, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't think Sabalenka is this nice, funny kind of girl that she portrays in the match. I don't think she's particularly well liked in the locker room. I think she really was getting steamy, angry there, and that is a big problem if you're betting her at minus money. If someone can get into her and get her going, get her rifled, and I thought Emma Raducanu had that opportunity against that, and for me to be saying Emma Raducanu had a chance, but Emma Raducanu bottled it. Really, she had the chance to get into her, and she just didn't go through her. But she's flaky. She's really flaky.
I mean, that was certainly something that was prevalent earlier in her career, and she improved on it. She's a lot stronger mentally than she was, but she is still a bit vulnerable when she's backed into a corner.
I think she has a sign of arrogance about Rory. I mean, not his confidence, but there's also arrogance. And everyone says there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. But I think she's quite arrogant, and I think that she couldn't understand today why a woman ranked outside the top 100, who she beat 6-1, 6-2, was doing what she was doing to her, and I think that played in her mindset. And for periods of that match, she was gone. She was completely gone. She was trying to outpower and hit every winner, and it wasn't working. Then she tried to play the same tactics as her. She put the stop block on the shot. She played a little bit more with sport spin, and then she got the advantage, went in the game. But when she went into a normal game of just trying to out-hit the opponent, it never worked. It never really worked. And I think she gets frustrated, thinking, how is this woman beating me at 38 years of age as well? Going into a 3-hour match, how was she beating me? And she couldn't cope with that. And she's got a tough match next up against Anisimova. I mean, that is a real tough match. I mean, the outright market's up now. We got some odds. just come out fresh off the betting. Sabalenka's minus 132 to win this thing. Now, she's never won it before, as we know. She's never got to a final, as we know.
I wouldn't be backing out with your money, Nigel.
Well, she's got 2 matches to win, hasn't she? So,
yeah,
Anisimova, she's going to be what? I don't know. I reckon she's probably going to be about minus $3 to beat Anisimova, maybe a little bit short, minus 330. And then in the final, she plays Swiatek or Andreeva, which we expect she's probably going to be about a minus 180 shot. So you're looking at the double, minus 180 and minus 330, which probably isn't any value at minus 132. But this Anisimova match is really tough because have you seen the head-to-head record between the two of them? You've seen it?
Yeah, well, Anisimova leads 5-3. And Sabalenka did beat her at Roland Garros. I mean, I had a go at pricing this up because Anisimova only won about 20 minutes ago. And honestly, I think it will be Sabalenka minus 305, Anisimova plus 210.
Yeah, you're not far off.
I'd be all over Anisimova at that price. I'd be all over her.
She won the first 4 meetings between the two of them, and she's probably the most improved tennis player in the last 6 months of the year, or definitely since the grass court campaign came Anisimova. It's a tough match for her. But if you look at major champions, they always come through one real big test on the way to winning the crown. And that could be the test that she had today to get her through. She got out of a hole. She used her get out of jail card. And, once players have those tough matches, they tend to go on a little bit better. As we saw with Alcaraz in the first round against Fognini, it's very rare that people win very straightforward. We saw Alcaraz win against Jannik Sinner, up with 3 championship points. They do. Big champions can bounce back from that position. She's got to refocus, but when she's on it, she's on it. But today she found an opponent who just had her tactics spot on to beat her. And Anisimova will take huge confidence from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a completely different sort of match. I mean, Anisimova, in terms of power and ball striking, one of the few that can live with Sabalenka. And actually, at times, she'll out-hit Sabalenka. It's going to be, it's going to be ferocious stuff. There's going to be no holding back. You were talking about getting out of jail. I think we can say about Jannik Sinner last night against Grigor Dimitrov. 2 sets down, 2-2 in the third. And Dimitrov suffered what looked like an injury to his chest muscle pectoral. We've had so many shocks this Wimbledon. We could have had another one last night, Nigel.
Yeah, I mean, before we go into that, we got Peter just asked any live bets on the Alcaraz Norrie match. You may have just joined us a little bit late. We actually gave over 26 and a half games. It's now 27 and a half. Norrie did hold serve against Alcaraz there. So over 26 and a half games was our bet at even money. I think it might be a favourite to be 6-4 this set. So 6-2, 6-4. You're looking over 8.5 at even money in the final set. That was the angle we wanted to play. Currently, at the moment, I think it's a fast-moving market. At 15.30 on Alcaraz is served, and the line is going to move very, very quickly if Alcaraz wins his point. So basically, we'll come back and have a look at that after the next game if Alcaraz can hold serve at 30 or if Norrie can break in. With regards to last night, I mean, how anybody, how you had to have a tear in your eye for Dimitrov. I mean, I think it's last 5 majors he's had to retire from, with his body just breaking down, playing the West. He was serving brilliantly, 140-mile-an-hour serves, had the world #1 in a position that he'd never been in before, really. 2 sets of love down against a player lower ranking like that. I mean, he easily beats these kind of players. I know he's a seeded player, but he's a lower ranking compared to the top 10 in the world. The other thing about Sinner is that everybody in play would have just, it would have been getting involved in Dimitrov because we know how bad Sinner's record is in 5-setters. So it was just an awful way for him to go down, and Sinner was extremely lucky. But Sinner was injured as well. I mean, Sinner got injured in the first game of that match, and he was affected by an injury. Hence the reason why his market shift out to plus 225 to win Wimbledon. So there is a problem there with Sinner. We broke that match down. Sean has given us an official play on that on today's Betting Weekly Game Bet match, which is out now. But there is an injury concern about Sinner at the next match up. And in Ben Shelton, you've got a player who's getting better and better every single round. He's got a very, very bad head-to-head record against Jannik Sinner. I think he's trails 5-1 on the head-to-heads, but he's never, ever going to have a better opportunity to beat the world #1 like he has here. And he's got so much confidence at the moment, Ben Shelton. So this injury, I mean, Sinner was very fortunate, but I do think he's affected as well. He went over on his ankle, didn't he, in the very first game, and he was very tentative on it. And Sinner gets injuries played in his mind, but he's got a bit of time to recover, and hopefully he will do. But that is got to be in your thinking if you're betting the heavy odds on tomorrow Bet Rivers for him to beat Ben Shelton.
There you go. Thanks, Peter, for asking us about that. Over 26.5 games is now -205. Norrie serving with new balls. It's just gone 15 all as he hits the net and it drifts out of play. So that's Norrie Alcaraz. The other men's match we had, well, the first quarterfinal we had today, Taylor Fritz beating Khachanov in 4 sets to reach his first Wimbledon semi-final. He'll play the winner of Alcaraz and Norrie. What did you think of Fritz today, Nigel? You probably didn't see that much of that if you're watching Sabalenka Siegemund.
I'm flicking through. I was watching a little bit of it because I had a bet on it, and unfortunately I bet Taylor Fritz -3.5 and losing the set 6-1. He won the match 3-1, losing the match 6-1 wasn't good for me. I took it from the Betting Weekly newsletter bet that Tim gave, so I wasn't very happy with that 6-1. But he had an injury timeout, Taylor Fritz. Physio was on court. Didn't look that bad, but he bounced back well to win it. He used a lot of effort into do it. He's used a lot of effort in this tournament so far. Back-to-back 5-setters in the opening 2 matches. A lot of tennis, been winning Eastbourne on the way coming into this. Throws away the theory of the women's draw that you can't win. If you win a tournament the week before, like Paguda did, and McCartney Kessler did, that you're going to be a fade in round 1. He's thrown that theory right in the dustbin. I think Alcaraz is a game too much for him. I think he's played an awful lot of tennis. Semi-final, Alcaraz, fittest man on tour. Yeah, I was impressed with him, but that is what I'm presuming Alcaraz gets through. But I think this is where it goes for Taylor Fritz. And I think his body language was he was so pleased to reach the semi-finals. He got his furthest he's ever got. He was delighted to come through. But I think Alcaraz is just the way they match up stylistically. I think Alcaraz will beat Fritz fairly comfortably.
Norrie 30 all on serve, 3-5 in the second set. That over 26.5 games now -143.
We need this. We need Norrie to win this game because otherwise we're betting 9.5 in the second set, even rather than 8.5. 8.5 is what you want, really. So yeah, we want Norrie to hold on. We've still got a chance if he goes 6-3, but 6-4 set or a chance for break would even be better. So a big hold for Norrie in this match. It would be brilliant for us on how we play bet. It's not looking good. Break point.
Break point for Alcaraz. Let's have a quick look at tomorrow's matches. We mentioned Sinner Shelton. We'll have a quick look at that. Sinner -385, which does look short given that he does have something of an injury scare. Shelton +290. The spread 4.5 games, totals 39.5. Both dropped their first set of the tournament in a previous round. Shelton against Lorenzo Sonego. Sinner, as mentioned, against Dimitrov. There's been one tie break in each of their 6 previous encounters. Shelton actually won their first encounter, but then Sinner took the rest. And there's bound to be another one here. Just before we talk about that, Alcaraz has broken. He's won the second set 6-3. So what are we on games?
It's 25.5 now. It looks likely to be 26 as the sort of the market. A very heavy favourite over 25.5 and an underdog under 26.5. So 26 looks the most likely. But we're on over 9.5, aren't we, for the final set?
Yeah. So we need just
really
one break of serve. Although if Alcaraz is serving first, because he's just broken, hasn't he? So it makes it a little bit trickier. But we'll keep you up to date with that one. Sinner Shelton, tie break on the cards?
Well, I think like I say, I don't really want to go over too much because Sean's given a brilliant detailed analysis of this match on Game Bet Match, and he has a game of the prop bet, which I think is a brilliant way to do it. But we did speak about the injury to Sinner and the levels that Sinner played against Dimitrov. Everyone's going about how well Dimitrov played. It was a very, very, very bad performance from Jannik Sinner. And clearly something went wrong in that injury right at the beginning. We believe he's playing with some kind of knock on that. Whether he can come back or not, I don't know. But I think the value is on the Shelton side because I've been really impressed with Ben Shelton. It was a work in progress on grass. When he burst on the scene, I thought his kid was going to be a definite Wimbledon champion. or a major champion. It took him a lot of time, but I think he's now probably playing. He's the best he's played in his career. He's only a young career, but he's destined to the high echelons. I think a win here will take him up to about 8 in the world, I think, if you look at the current live rankings, something like that. So he's a player moving in the right direction. I think he'll fancy the opportunity. I mean, you've got to fancy the opportunities. You know, this was the world #1 seed. There was 2 sets to love down against 34-year-old Grigor Dimitrov, you know, lucky to get through. So you've got to fancy your chances. I would actually quite tempted to take Shelton on the money line. The only problem is that since he beat him in Shanghai in 2024, Sinner's never dropped a set against him, including a 6-2, 6-4, 7-6 win here in round of 16 at Wimbledon. But I think this is a very, very different Ben Shelton, and I don't think this is 100% fit Jannik Sinner, which gives you a bit of a chance. I can see Ben Shelton going off to a fast start. So if you took the plus 290, you may be in a position to hedge your bet or trade your way into the market. But I think my opening trade in this match would be to take Ben Shelton and then hope I called it right at the beginning, and then maybe take an option to take it out and trade my way out of it. But I think Sinner at minus 385 comes with a lot of pitfalls, potential pitfalls. He's you know, we know his stats are incredible. We know how brilliant he's been this year, but I think there's some major injury concern coming into this match.
Yeah, and of course you can bet in play and stream the action live with Bet Rivers. Shout out to A, who says he's recovering from the Sabalenka roller coaster. Yeah, aren't we all, mate? That was an incredible match. Plenty of emotion shown by both players, and went all the way. The second men's quarterfinal tomorrow, Flavio Cobolli against Novak Djokovic. Cobolli $7, Djokovic minus 12.50. The spread 7.5 games, totals 33.5. One previous meeting last year in Shanghai, and Djokovic won 6-1, 6-2. Cobolli's done really well to get to his first slam quarterfinal, but he can't trouble Djokovic, can he, Nigel?
I can't see it. I mean, he didn't win it took him loads of attempts to win a grass court match, which was last year. Finally got over the line. I think he'd lost his first 4 ever grass court matches, and then he won a couple last year. One in the first round at Wimbledon, got to the round 2, and now he's reached the quarterfinals. I mean, it's an incredible turnaround. I think he's been a star of the tournament. I think he's a real likable. He's a bit of an ugly son, which is what a good-looking boy. You know, I tell you what, Mrs. Seeley quite like watching his games. But he's a good-looking lad. He's wooed everyone at Wimbledon. He's got a team that are very vocal. They're right behind him, but he's up against a player that's seen it, done it. Nothing's going to faze him. Lost the first set against Alex de Minaur. He's a heavy favourite, Novak Djokovic, but I think Novak Djokovic will come through fairly comfortably here. Minus 12.50 is what you get in 7.5 the spread, 33.5 totals. Probably, to me, I wouldn't be looking to have a bet on any of those markets, but I do think Djokovic will come through. And actually, you know, if someone said to me now, Nigel, what would you do if you were given a $100 free bet with Bet Rivers? I think I would actually bet Novak Djokovic to win the men's singles at Wimbledon. Purely and simply because I think that he's good. I think you get in the semi-finals. I don't believe Sinner's fit, and I can see Shelton causing a shock. Or if Sinner does come through, he's going to play a long match and come through. I don't think he's going to win it easy, and I don't think Sinner's going to have the minerals and the fitness to go 5 sets with Djokovic in the semi-final. So I think last night's events with Dimitrov, what the market reacted very heavily in the favour of Carlos Alcaraz, but it was a very, very good evening. I don't mean that to say it's a good evening because someone being injured, but it was a good evening for the chances of Novak Djokovic to win another major. So I think if I was given a free bet now, I'm already on Alcaraz, but I think if I was given a bet now, I'll take Djokovic at a big price to win it.
Plus 225, Djokovic.
I won't pay him at that price. I thought he'd be bigger than that. Is that what he is? 225?
Yeah.
It's the same price. He's the same price as not the same. He's the same price as Sinner.
Sinner's plus 300 now.
So he's a heavy favourite at Sinner.
Yeah.
So you're saying in the match, should we? Well, no, I wouldn't do that. I honestly thought this morning he was bigger than that. When we recorded this morning, I think it was well the other way around. Sinner was about 225, and Djokovic was about plus 350. So that suggests now that with that move towards Djokovic in the market, suggests that Sinner may have a big problem. So I mean, it was 2-1 Sinner straight after the match last night, And I think Bet Rivers were plus 185. So to go out to 330 is a big move.
300 plus 300.
Plus
Djokovic
that's
plus 225. It's a big move. It's a big drift.
25. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So there you go. Worrying times for Jannik Sinner fans. Let's go back to the match in progress. It's 1-1 at the start of the third set. Alcaraz serving first. Total. So yeah, we're over 26.5 games, minus 106.
Yeah.
Is where we are at the moment. Unders 26.5 is minus
all
125.
we need to cash is Norrie to get 4 games. That's all we need. Norrie to get 4 games, more than 4 games. If he gets 4 on the board, we cash.
Matt Locke, good info there. Sinner cancelled his practice today, so the market moved, but it turns out he practiced indoors.
Right.
The old double bluff.
That's a big move, though. That is a big.
It is a big move.
But then it's what's surprising, Matt. I don't know if you did. I mean, why is the big move on the outright market and not the match price? There's been a little move on the match price, but not massive. So that suggests that people think they may still be fit enough to beat Shelton, but when he faces Djokovic, which looks highly likely as a minus 1250 favourite, that there'll be a huge rebase on that match, and Djokovic could potentially start favourite. That he's got to be, he's going to have to be very, very fit to play Djokovic. So that helps. I quite like the idea of Shelton beating him even more now.
So there you go. Let's move on to the women's tomorrow. Iga Swiatek up against Liudmila Samsonova. The poll minus 286, Samsonova plus 220. Spread 3.5 games, totals 21.5. Swiatek has won all 4 previous meetings. The last was at last year's US Open, where she won 6-4, 6-1. Samsonova hasn't dropped a set so far, although she was pushed very hard by Jessica Buzas-Monero in the last round. She saved 2 set points before winning 7-5, 7-5. Swiatek was down a break early against Clara Towson, but came back to win pretty easily. The Dane looked like she was suffering some kind of illness. I think we've got different views on Swiatek. I'm still very much of the opinion that grass is her worst surface. In that match against Towson yesterday, in the first 2-3 games, the amount of forehand errors was ridiculous. It was just almost every other shot was a forehand error, but she came back. But I don't trust Samsonova either.
Well, that's my point here is that Samsonova's big match points, her temperament, her bottle, her nerve in big situations is a worry. I mean, we saw it with Alexandrova yesterday. I joked about her failing to take 11 match points in that match against Mertens on the grass before the build-up to Wimbledon, but she should have won yesterday very, very easy, and she couldn't convert any big points. Samsonova's a little bit like that. I watched her play Khachanov, as I said on the WTA show. She played really, really well and played well in big points as well, but she gave a lot of cheap points away and was broken a couple of times, even though she won that easy. I can see Swiatek starting fast. I think that she'll probably break Samsonova early. Samsonova's serve has to be working to the best of its capabilities. The weather tomorrow's pretty nice as well. It's a nice day, so it should be playing quite quicker with the hotter weather. But I know you're disagreeing, but I've got a sneaky feeling Iga Swiatek gets all the way to the final, and I think the way that we saw Sabalenka struggling against players with variety and not power hitters, and the way that the centre court is a little bit slower this year, I think this could be Swiatek's year. I do. I know it's not what you want to hear, but I just got a feeling. I've got a feeling she's
which would be incredible. Which would be absolutely incredible given her last year. She hadn't reached a final since Roland Garros last year. She did reach the final in Bad Homburg the week before the Slam. You're saying about week before the Slam's usually a negative. Swiatek did play the week before the Slam. She was well beaten in that final by Jessica Pegula, who went out round 1 in Wimbledon. So it would be just incredible that, the Queen of Clay, who has never shown any great form on grass before, is a potential Wimbledon winner.
Well, it just shows you that the game's changed. There isn't, there's not hardly any difference between hard court, clay court, and grass anymore. They're all pretty much multi-surface surfaces, they're all the same. You know, you're one for your court speeds. You look at the court speeds of them, they're not very different anymore. There's huge variety. That's why you're getting shocks. That's why people like Siegemund are getting to the beating people. Madison Keys had the big serve, isn't dominant anymore. And I think that people, you saw Tatiana Maria win Queen's Club by doing pretty much the same tactics what Lara Siegemund did today. And I think that Swiatek will she'll probably do a little bit more variety, but she's got a surface where she's got a great chance. And I think, I got a feeling it could be her year, but I think she'll win this one.
Any bet in this one, do you think?
Well, what is the spread again? 3.5?
3.5.
I mean, I think I'd only have to be betting Swiatek minus 3.5 because look at some of the sets they've played. I mean, the US Open 6-4, 6-1, Dubai 6-1, 6-love. That's a quick surface. You would have thought Samsonova there would have her serve would have got her out of trouble there. She got beat 6-1, 6-1. Beijing 6-2, 6-2. Another quick surface. I think Swiatek wins. I'm not going to. I wouldn't perhaps have. I wouldn't bet any. When we get to the semi-finals and quarterfinals, and you come on these shows, right? You feel like you have to give a bet because people come on and want to watch the show. I probably will not bet anything that I'm saying here, but pre-match I'd probably go 2.5, and then I'll probably play in play. I think you've got to watch these in play. You can't. They can change so quickly. One early break, suddenly change. I mean, that Siegemund game, we would never have predicted that. Most of the stuff I do in week 1, week 2, I become a spectator. And once we get to the quarterfinals, semi-finals, final at Wimbledon, it's very, very, very hard to find any value unless it's in play. So the value today for me was when Sabalenka was in trouble and she hit plus 125. That was when it became an interesting bet. Are you getting with Sabalenka? Last night when Dimitrov went into the final set and he's a minus 125 favourite, that's where it becomes interesting because there is nothing really, that's your opinion against the odds maker's opinion, whether the player can hold the serve. Pre-match in quarterfinals and semi-finals, I think it's so difficult to find any value. So I'm giving you like what I would do, but I wouldn't be betting it. So I would be siding with Iga Swiatek, and I think she'd win it fairly comfortably, minus 3.5 or 2 sets to love. I think that Samsonova will make crucial errors, double faults at big points in hands, cheap points to Swiatek. Yeah,
well, Mandeep Singh reckons 2-0 to Iga Swiatek. And if you want to look at a bet there, the set spread, Swiatek minus 1.5 sets is even money, which doesn't look a bad price. And if you want plus money on the game spread, Swiatek minus 4.5 games is plus 104. So that's the first of tomorrow's women's quarterfinals. The second sees Mirra Andreeva go up against Belinda Bencic. Andreeva minus 235, Bencic plus 185. The spread 3.5 games, totals 21.5. Haven't met before, these two. Andreeva pretty impressive against Emma Navarro in the last round. Bencic got past a misfiring Ekaterina Alexandrova, as Nigel mentioned. This is her best showing at Wimbledon. Andreeva, she still doesn't convince me on grass, Nigel, but I think she'll be too strong here, won't she?
I think this one is the one that could be a little more interesting from a betting perspective. I mean, Mirra Andreeva is a slightly better price for odds-on bettors if you want to get with Mirra Andreeva. She's minus 235 compared to Iga Swiatek, minus 286. But all the other markets are more exactly the same. The 3.5 is the spread, and the total here is 21.5. I actually will have a bet on this one before the match, only because I think that Bencic will give her a test. I think Mirra Andreeva's still got a lot to learn. I think she hasn't been tested as yet at Wimbledon, but we saw when she got tested at the French Open, she completely fell apart against Boisson. And I got a feeling here this might be a little bit longer than this is a proper player, Belinda Bencic. She's been around for a long time. She's won grass court tournaments. She's had an exceptional Wimbledon. On the stats, she shouldn't have been there. Alexandrova should have beaten her if you look at the raw stats. But she's got guts. She's got determination. She's got experience. All the things that I'm not totally convinced about Andreeva. I know she won back-to-back 1000s, which was incredible for her this year. But 2 Desert 1000, sorry. But I just got a feeling here that this may be a long one. And I think the veteran may look at what Siegemund did today and think, you know what, I can teach you a thing or two. I think 21.5 is quite a low number for a quarterfinal. And I just got a feeling this is a little bit closer in the betting. And I think that Bencic will give you more of a run for your money than Samsonova with her experience compared to Samsonova's inexperience, and the fact that Samsonova's let bettors down on big points. So I'm going to go for over 21.5 games here at -117 tomorrow. That is my only official play for the day on the show. But I will be betting that pre-match, and then hopefully we can get a long one, because I think this is going to be a decent match against two players in great form.
So there you go. Well, if we see half of the drama we had earlier today, it should be a good one. Thought Alexandrova choked yesterday.
Well, she did.
Wouldn't disagree with that. And I don't think Bencic has looked amazing, but it'll be close. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I said, yeah, Bencic, I think, yeah, she has won a tournament on grass. It was a long time ago, I think. But I don't know. It's this tournament.
Eastbourne back in like 2015.
19? Was it 15?
2015.
Yeah, but it's been one of those where, as we said, it's a bit different. The players who haven't shown that much on grass before are producing. It's been a strange one. Now it's squeaky bum time on the over 9.5 games because Alcaraz has got 3 break points, and Norrie serving at 2-3, and Alcaraz.
We needed Norrie to hold to that set to win the second set 6-4, and then over at 8.5 we had a chance, but he didn't do it, and it's going to be under. We're going to lose. He's not going to break Alcaraz. If Alcaraz breaks him here, love 40. Just one thing. I mean, if you look at that Swiatek v Samsonova match and the Mirra Andreeva match, they're more or less identical in terms of the total games price. So if someone said to you, we've got a match up, and it's like -110, Swiatek, Samsonova, or Mirra Andreeva, Belinda, Bencic, I think you've got to bet Mirra Andreeva, Bencic to have more games if you were being offered -110 the pair, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's one of my ways of thinking. They're both exactly the same line, and I think that the Bencic match will produce more games, because I expect Swiatek. And even if Swiatek 1 does go into 3 sets, she wins a lot of sets, 6-1, 6-love, 6-2. So you could be in a situation where you go into 3 sets and it's 6-love, 1-6, 6-1 or something like that. And, it'd be crazy. But the other one, I think, has got more chance of being a longer set. First set, I might maybe look at first set overs as well, compared to over 9.5 set number 1, something like that. But I do think Bencic and Andreeva will be an interesting one. Bencic's for trying to roll back the years, and Andreeva, a young player trying to get into a first Wimbledon semi-final.
So that's our look at tomorrow's action. Alcaraz converted the second break point. He leads 4-2 in the third, and 2 sets to love against Cam Norrie, looking like the end of British interest in the singles at Wimbledon. And of course, Alcaraz serving first, so fair chance he could win this set 6-3. But
which would be a disaster. We wanted the 6-4, 6-3. The 6-3. Yeah, we wanted the over 8.5 the final set.
Getting broken at the end of that second set was the absolute kill. If he'd just held serve, we'd have been in there. But that's all we've got time for on Betting Weekly Tennis Live. Thanks for joining us. And again, just a reminder, make sure you subscribe, like and subscribe. We're already past 10,000 subscribers, which is amazing, but we'd like to
really want to get to 11,000 subscribers.
So
please hit that button. We've got a target of 11,000. We need to get it.
Yeah, next milestone. And of course, sign up to the Betting Weekly newsletter. The newsletter drops on Mondays, and the Betting Weekly Insider drops every Friday. Nigel, looking good for Alcaraz here. He wins this, doesn't he? He wins the tournament, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he will do. He's on a brilliant winning run. He's just getting better and better every single round, and his main rival, his main target's obviously injured. So it's there for him to lose, isn't it?
It certainly is. Nigel, thanks for your time as always. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for all your comments, and make sure you join us again soon. Join us again tomorrow. It won't be us, but it'll be someone else in the chair for some more Betting Weekly Tennis Live with more in-play action from Wimbledon.